Hey everyone, it's Michael. Today's episode is a brief update pertaining to the story of Jeffrey and Susan Klungness, which we covered back in 2023. However, before we get into that, I just wanted to let you all know that the main show is undergoing a little bit of a break due to some happy news for the first time in a while. My family welcomed a new member earlier this month, a baby boy, so things have been pretty hectic around the Whelan household. Thank you all for your patience as I adjust to this even more sleep-deprived reality. But I should get back into the swing of things before long. I just wanted to let you all know. However, on to today's update. On March 2nd, 1996, Ronald Klungness returned home from work to his family's mobile home in Bonnie Lake, Washington, expecting to find his wife, Susan, and their 14-year-old son, Jeffrey. Instead, he found the front door unlocked, the TV on, and the house empty. Thinking nothing of it, he ate some dinner, fell asleep in his chair, and woke up a couple of hours later to find that Susan still had not come home. When he checked their bedroom, he struggled to open the door, only to discover Susan's lifeless body behind it. Their son, Jeffrey, and Susan's car were missing. Susan, 53 years old at the time, had been beaten to death in the home's living room and then moved, or had crawled, to the bedroom, where she was later found. Police never publicly disclosed the murder weapon, but confirmed it was found at the scene. The house was not ransacked, but a few items, including Ronald's engraved Seiko watch and approximately $700 in cash, were missing. Suspicion quickly fell upon Marty Malcolm, a 41-year-old handyman and family friend who had a violent past, including a prior conviction for stabbing and killing his estranged wife in 1980. He had become close to the Klungness family, regularly visiting their home, running errands, and even driving Jeffrey to school. However, by early 1996, Ronald and Susan Klungness had grown weary of Marty's frequent presence, and a friend had recently advised him to give the family some space. On the morning of Susan's murder, Marty was last seen with Jeffrey. They left in Susan's car at around 11:30 a.m. for a haircut. That afternoon, Marty was caught on ATM surveillance withdrawing $300 from Susan's account, without Jeffrey in the front seat next to him, though a witness would later claim that they saw a younger person in the back of the car. Marty later said that he had dropped Jeffrey off at home at around 12:30 p.m., returning at around 2 to find no one there. He then claims he discovered Susan's body in the bedroom. Instead of calling 911, he fled in her car, driving around aimlessly, gambling away Susan's money at a casino, and later abandoning the vehicle near a Taco Bell in Auburn. Marty turned himself into police the following evening, but stopped cooperating after initially speaking to investigators. He was later arrested for auto theft, but authorities never charged him in Susan's murder or Jeffrey's disappearance due to a lack of evidence. After serving a short sentence for unauthorized vehicle use, he was released. Jeffrey, meanwhile, was not seen alive after his initial disappearance. Some theories suggested he had run away following his mother's murder, but almost everyone, loved ones as well as police, believed that he had been a victim himself, with the circumstances surrounding his disappearance making it unlikely that he had survived on his own afterward. In the years since, this story has faded into obscurity, but just recently, this week in fact, news broke that this story may have been resolved, and that resolution was tied to a discovery made all the way back in October of 2017. In October 2017, a small group of mushroom pickers discovered a human skull in a wooded area off of Greenwater in rural Pierce County, Washington. As described by Fox 13 reporters, the skull was covered in moss, and per Pierce County Sheriff's Detective Ed Troyer, appeared to have been there for a long period of time. In the months that followed this discovery, forensic analysis was able to determine that the skull belonged to a juvenile male who had suffered a violent death, evidence showing signs of blunt force trauma. Additional searches of the region uncovered even more human remains belonging to the same individual, as well as pieces of clothing. In 2020, a DNA match was able to determine a link to Jeffrey Klungness through a relative of his, and subsequent DNA testing confirmed that the remains were indeed his. Unfortunately, by the time this match was confirmed, Jeffrey's father, Ronald, had passed away. Coincidentally, he was admitted to a hospital at the height of the COVID-19 pandemic the same night that authorities learned the skull had been Jeffrey's. They were never able to tell him. And in an even more bitter case of coincidence, the main suspect in the case, Martin Malcolm, died of natural causes in 2022 before charges could be filed against him. Just this month, however, March 2025, the Pierce County Prosecutor's Office stated that they would have filed charges against Malcolm had he still been alive. But following the conclusion of the sheriff's investigation, which determined that Jeffrey had been a victim of homicide, with Martin Malcolm the likely perpetrator, they consider the case closed. Thank you all for listening. We will be back with another new episode soon, but before then, I will be dropping another update. The trial against Toya Cordingley's accused killer is currently playing out over in Australia, so the next time you hear from me, I will likely be catching us up on that. But until then, I hope you all stay healthy, active, and safe. Take care.